Oh, big space here for Withy. Now can he link up? He needs some speeders. Gives it away to no.
Fakatava and Sean Withy. Outstanding breakout from the Highlanders.
Yeah, so round one of Super Rugby Pacific was quite an eventful one with great wins for the Chiefs, the Brumbies, Hurricanes, Blues, Highlanders, and the Reds. I guess apart from the Reds, me and Chiefs, the others were kind of expected, although I should say for the Highlanders, it was pretty close. More on them shortly, but yeah, obviously while the rugby was certainly excellent in most part, unless you're, no offense, the Rebels, the rugby wasn't exactly the biggest talking point, certainly in New Zealand. Now, you've got to excuse me, I've been battling a cough all weekend, so if this video is shorter than expected and if I start coughing, I do apologise.
Just checking now, mate. Oh boy, there's going to be some talk about these HIAs. This is another one that's resulting from these mouthguards. You see the mouthguard?
Yeah, so the biggest talking point of the weekend, certainly amongst New Zealand rugby fans, was what happened during the Chiefs Crusaders game, or rather what didn't exactly happen. I guess I don't know. It depends what you call it. So, if you haven't heard, New Zealand World Rugby has sort of started mandating the use of smart mouthguards at the highest levels. We saw it in the Six Nations. There was a Scottish player who was pulled off because of because the smart mouthguard had detected a significant hit to the head, which needed a HIA. And as you read into that as you will, these mouthguards are meant to any sort of impact to the head which would warrant concern for a HIA, a sensor comes off and the player gets off. So we had that in the Six Nations with that Scottish player, and these smart mouthguards have, this is sort of like the first game where smart mouthguards have become a prominent feature of Super Rugby. And yeah, look, it did come, the smart mouthguard would play some sort of role, I guess, whether you call ultimately I guess it didn't affect the result, but it certainly raised a bit of a talking point. If you don't recall, of course, because Friday night was quite a while ago now. Anton Leonard-Brown late in the as the Chiefs were behind the Crusaders, having been quite a way up at halftime. Anton Leonard-Brown is pulled off after by one of the medical staff or one of the referees after his smart mouthguard had sent a signal that he needed a HIA check. And yeah, look, Anton Leonard-Brown at the time was quite bemused. It was like, well, what just happened? It seemed, I guess I didn't quite see fully what happened, but it would seem to me that neither did Anton Leonard-Brown was not much wiser on what sort of hit. Certainly wasn't like some sort of hit where, which think, yep, that's a HIA straight away. And of course, yeah, that came at a controversial time because Quinn Tupaia had gone off for the Chiefs at the time, so Anton Leonard-Brown was effectively the last real set midfielder for the Chiefs. They were chasing the game. Fortunately, they won at the end, thanks to their scrum, a couple of mistakes from the Crusaders. But if they lost, you probably might have heard a bit more about these mouthguards. And yeah, look, but nevertheless, I think there still has been a bit of furore around these supposed smart mouthguards, and certainly has become a bit of a pinata on social media. And I think even myself, look, I have to admit, it seemed, without knowing the facts, it's easy to say, the label smart mouthguards an oxymoron. And a lot of people, including myself, thought these were, why are they trialing, what you think, why are they trialing this technology at the highest level? Couldn't they test it out in club rugby? Well, in actual fact, these mouthguards have been around for a number of years. They sort of, in fact, you could go far back as 2019. In America, they were sort of trialing about with rugby, but other contact sports, NFL as such. Smart mouthguards have been in use for a number of years. Just in rugby, they've only really become effectively become mainstream in October 2023 when the World Rugby announced that they would be investing £2 million euros. I can't quite remember. I was reading the article into implementing these mouthguards, as a way to keep on top of the trying to cut down on these concussions, major head because it is certainly it is not a laughing matter. You're thinking like your Steve Thompsons, getting early onset dementia. And rugby has actually by and large led the way in terms of trying to cut down HIAs. They're being very, very cautious. Some might say maybe a bit too much at times, but I guess it is sort of. I think that they are certainly trying to. You have to credit them for trying to. Change things, make people more aware of, and actually. Look after the health of players, during and after their careers. So I guess it is a little bit of a shame that the New Zealand media has kind of picked on the smart mouthguards and kind of rubbished them as sort of destroying the game. Labeling as some sort of untested technology that, and some are saying, these guys have got a hard nut. I think Scott Barrett and Clayton McMillan didn't particularly do themselves proud in those press conferences, sort of rubbishing these smart mouthguards, which actually have had quite a bit of rigorous testing already before they wouldn't, before they were being introduced to Super Rugby. World Rugby was already mandating these, so the players should know that these mouthguards were coming, and everyone should know about, there's been so much coverage, head injuries in the last couple of years. You're using all the way, they become, the factors, more of these head-related, head things are, head tackles are becoming red cards. So they should know about this. And so I guess, not a great move by, certainly by Crusaders captain Scott Barron, and one of our, probably now one of our most famous All Blacks, prominent All Blacks, I should say, and of course, and Clayton McMillan. But so maybe it was a heat of the moment. I guess Anton and Brown said a heat of the moment. But what's transpired, and I think that could have probably led to the destroy. Apparently, there is a report, I think it was from Recording Radio New Zealand, that there was a Bluetooth issue. So where the transmissions from the smart mouthguards were actually getting to the referee's delay. So there might have been so it certainly wasn't the immediate hit before he got called out, where, which, was the reason why they pulled Anton and Brown. Might have been a few plays back. We wouldn't know. I guess the technology will get there when we can. I guess we should be able to find out when that moment when they detected that particular. But I was certainly, they're saying it was a Bluetooth signal. So I guess don't blame the smart mouthguard. I guess blame New Zealand's crumbling and always behind phone infrastructure. So that's a shame, I should say, internet infrastructure. But that's a shame because the Chiefs Crusaders game was absolutely a belter. Chiefs romped away with what was then the try of the season, and the first half the Crusaders were just nowhere. And then the Crusaders came back. They just did what they do best, and they really probably should have won. I think credit to the Chiefs who, just in the last couple of minutes sort of saw that the Crusaders were kind of loosening their initiative a bit, and then took advantage. Scrums, Crusaders made a big handling error at the end, which from a set piece, the Chiefs, kicked their way to victory. So the Chiefs start off, the Crusaders Chiefs do face off again in a couple of weeks' time, so we shall see what happens there. Hopefully the Bluetooth at Orange Theory Stadium works a lot better than it did in Hamilton. Not wanting to talk too long because I've got a bit of a cough. So, look, as I said, Highlanders. Highlanders started off with a win. Look, I mean, people are going to say, it was a close one, and it certainly was. I think, to be honest, I think both Highlanders. I've watched most of the game. I think that both Highlanders and Moana Pacifica actually played really, really well. Moana Pacifica probably, I guess, maybe just don't quite have the consistency quality to quite finish off games. But look, the Highlanders, I think you've got to give them credit for, they just stuck in there. There were times when Moana looked like they were going to absolutely out-physical them, but this young Highlanders team came back and, ultimately won. They got the bonus point as well, so that's going to be handy. And that's pretty much what, I guess, this was a game they were always going to target. Of course, Highlanders do play Moana Pacifica twice, so that kind of, I guess, although from watching this game, I guess, a win against Moana Pacifica is probably not going to be a guaranteed affair as much as if anything is to go by from this game, and that's good because I think Super Rugby needs, Super Rugby can't have any minnows who are going to be losing by 100 points each weekend, but certainly in this time when you're seeing the Rebels in so much trouble, Australian Rebels in so much trouble. We really need a strong Super Rugby comp, and it's good to see Moana Pacifica doing it, and hopefully Fiji and Drew will get their act together. I mean, it was a bit of a scrappy, I guess, briefly speaking, it was a bit of a scrappy sort of performance by the Fiji and Drew. The Blues absolutely outclassed them in a winning Whangarei. But yeah, look, I guess back to the Highlanders. Yeah, look, it's a good start for these young players, and I guess now we face the Blues, who looked pretty good against Fiji and Drew in Melbourne. So that's the next big challenge. But great to see that they scored what is so far the try of the season. So that is round one done. I'm gonna wrap it up here because I am starting to cough. Not really gonna do these weekly recaps. I can't guarantee I'm gonna do these weekly, but I thought because of the mouthguard scenario, it was kind of worth talking about that. Do you think the smart mouthguards have a place? Has the New Zealand media kind of wrongly or rightly portrayed the mouthguard as something that could destroy rugby, or was it just a one-off affair where as I said, as the RNZ Radio New Zealand says, it was just down to, it wasn't the mouthguards itself they were working for, it was rather the Bluetooth communications, and I guess is that the issue that needs to be, the communication that needs to be sorted out, the quality of the signals. And look, I think that's an easy fix. That's a very, very easy fix. In fact, I think in a couple of games they did have the Bluetooth sync, with the refs a lot closer, meaning it meant the communication between the mouthguards and the Bluetooth signal quality was a whole lot better. So, but yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the mouthguards. I'd like to hear your thoughts on which teams looked pretty good. Apart from the Chiefs, I mean, Hurricanes look pretty good, Blues decent, and I think to a certain extent the Highlanders did as well, even if there was a much closer battle than we expected against Moana Pacifica. If you like this video, if you feel like it, don't forget to subscribe.